covering climate, weather, and the industrial enterprise from Penn State Meteorology. Here is Up in the Air.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Up in the Air. I'm Mike Susko.
And I'm Ryan Gold.
Well, Ryan, we had a lot of fall festivities around here last weekend. We had the Pumpkin Festival at the Arboretum, and a lot of the local parks had their own little thing to celebrate fall. Did you get a chance to see any of them?
Well, I didn't get to any fall festivals, but I did get a chance to go to the Thon 5K, and it did snow on us.
Well, I'm sure the snowing part was not particularly fun, but but Thon itself was.
Oh, yes. It was a fantastic day, a great cause, and the sun did come out and warm us up a bit near the end.
Well, that's exciting to hear. And now we have a lot of stories for you. We have stories on volcanoes, Pennsylvania water infrastructure, and the tropics.
All that and more, but first, here's Update in the Air.
An international team from the University of Arizona traced the north-south shifts of the northernmost edge of the tropics back 800 years for the first time. They did this using annual tree rings of the black pines. The tropics have been expanding since the 1970s, and movement of the tropical belt affects northern hemisphere deserts, including the Mojave and Sonoran deserts in the southwestern U.S. This is because this movement of the tropics is associated with changes in precipitation patterns, according to Lee researcher Dr. Raul Sanchez from the UA Laboratory of Tree Ring Research. Expansion of the tropics in the past has coincided with severe droughts and other disruptions to society. An example in the United States is the near abandonment of Jamestown Colony in Virginia back in 1610. The current tropical belt expansion is in part due to the increase in greenhouse gases, according to additional researchers. With the droughts linked to tropical belt expansion, society should be cautious as another severe drought period could be lurking around the corner for other parts of the world.
While we're experiencing fall here in the North Hemisphere, there is one place which is getting a little spring in their fall. Every spring in Japan, the cherry blossoms bloom, which has become a beloved tradition, but this year, the blossoms have started to bloom in the fall months. There have been more than 350 reports of the blooming trees across several islands from Kyushu in the west to Hokkaido in the north. It is believed that this surprising blooming occurred when a series of recent typhoons came through the island and sheared off the leaves, and when warm weather followed the storms, it tricked the trees into thinking it has spring-like conditions. This isn't the first time an early bloom has occurred, and the fall bloom isn't expected to impact the next spring bloom.
Last week, the Pennsylvania Infrastructure Investment Authority awarded $93 million for 15 drinking water, wastewater, and non-point source projects across 12 counties. Included is a $35.4 million loan and a $13.6 million grant to the Pittsburgh Water and Sewer Authority. This money will be used to replace the lead service lines throughout the city. Non-point service projects include Chester City and Delaware County receiving a $5.7 million loan to improve the drainage system for stormwater. In Fulton County, a $684,700 loan was awarded to put in manure storage and waste containment facilities on the Brandon Gordon Dairy Farm. This project alone is expected to eliminate over 11,000 pounds of nitrogen and 3,500 pounds of phosphorus from entering the nearby waterways and ultimately ending up in the Chesapeake watershed. Chester County received nearly $1 million to improve their storm drainage system and control runoff. Governor Tom Wolf said, quote, "These projects benefit public health, the environment, and support sustainable communities as we advance our shared goal of a clean and safe environment for our families."
Volcanoes have always been disastrous, but one volcano in Italy may get even worse. A new study finds that Italy's Mount Etna is being pulled down into the Mediterranean Sea due to gravity, which could lead to the collapse of the southeastern side. This could send chunks of the volcano tumbling into the water, causing giant tsunamis. Scientists have known that Etna is creeping toward the sea, but believed it was due to the magma inside. Between 2001 to 2012, it moved a half-inch a year. The new study used underwater sensors to show that gravity is the main perpetrator in the volcano's southeastern flank to move. Mount Etna is Europe's largest active volcano, continuously erupting since 2013, and while there are no signs of this collapse being imminent, there is still an added danger to this volcano.
For over 15 years, China's government has invested billions of dollars to clean up and eliminate its deadly air pollution. They have been focusing strongly on reducing emissions of sulfur dioxide released from power plants operating on coal. While these efforts are succeeding, extreme pollution events are still common during the winter months. Experts estimate more than 1 million people in China die each year from air pollution. A study recently published in the Geophysical Research Letters from Harvard determined the answer to cutting back wintertime air pollution may be decreasing formaldehyde emissions over sulfur dioxide. Primary formaldehyde sources include vehicles and major industrial facilities, such as chemical and oil refineries. While reducing sulfur dioxide emissions is still essential to healthier air, the research team recommends policymakers focus efforts on reducing formaldehyde emissions from primary sources as well.
Storm surges from hurricanes are always dangerous, but occasionally they give as well as take. Storm surges from Hurricane Michael unearthed 19th century ships that washed ashore on Florida's Dog Island during an 1899 hurricane. 15 ships washed ashore during that Carabella hurricane, a Category 2 storm. The 1899 hurricane crossed over the Florida Keys into the Gulf of Mexico, where it strengthened into a Category 2. It left 9 houses standing in Carabella, a beach resort town. While it isn't clear which of the 15 documented ships were unearthed by Michael on the Franklin County barrier island, this is still an amazing find.
Welcome back to the show.
We now go to a package from Bree Guy about fall impacting home improvement stores.
Now that fall has arrived, home improvement stores are already preparing for the high demand supplies for winter. Right now, I'm standing in front of the Home Depot store in State College to get the facts on how exactly the weather affects sales. Weather affects everyone's everyday lives, and with that affects what they need and then go buy. Over 70% of businesses around the world are negatively affected by significant weather events. Almost all have weather incorporated in some way into the items that they sell. For a bigger picture, weather can affect the products produced or sold from a store, shipping and handling, property, and can even have a large impact on employment. I wanted to look more into how businesses look to optimize on weather opportunities or do damage control if need be. I was able to talk with Joni, a manager at Home Depot, about how the weather affects the growth or reduction of sales during specific times of year.
So in general, weather and weather patterns are pretty impactful on Home Depot's business. From a general standpoint, spring in particular, we had expectations for a big spring weekend here last weekend, and unfortunately because of the snow events and the colder weather patterns, we're not seeing the lift in sales that we would necessarily expect this time of year. We do see quite an impact from storms. Our business does get a pretty dramatic lift, especially in areas hit by big storms. Hurricanes, coastal stores, Hurricane Sandy in particular was pretty devastating for the coastline in New Jersey and in points north, and Home Depot really did have to respond, and so we do see we are very impacted by weather in a lot of cases, in a lot of situations.
For these reasons, it is vital for these stores to have an accurate forecast and for their management teams to keep up with what is currently happening with the weather.
Our associate-based website does have an actual weather app right there on the home screen. Weather forecasts are pretty critical just in knowing what to expect for the day. If we have 6 inches of snow expected, we will have salt and shovels down on the sales floor ready for our customers to have quick access to, run in and get out. Days when there's a lot of rain expected, we will react to that with dropping sump pumps, making sure we have brooms out to respond to water in people's basements. If we're expected to have a long stretch of hot days, we will have air conditioners down and ready to walk out the door. So accurate weather forecasts can go a long way to helping us maximize and take care of our customers appropriately.
Meteorologists can work together with businesses to optimize on opportunities for businesses to prosper and provide a better understanding of the weather to the public. For Up in the Air, I'm Bree Guy.
Welcome back to the show. Well, Ryan, last week we had your first frost, and we also had even some snow flurries here in central Pennsylvania. I don't know about you, it's a little early for me.
I personally am not a fan of snow in October, but it does happen, especially around here. It felt like it wasn't going to happen at all, to be honest, earlier in the month. But once the cooler temperatures started coming, that snow was like that.
Yeah, talk about complete switch of the seasons. Will that switch continue and will we have more snow showers? Well, Kasey is on the climate wall. Kasey, are we going to see the snow a little more, or was that just a taste of what's coming in a couple months?
We could possibly this weekend, but I'll touch more on that in a minute. Looking at our temperatures for October 25th, we have an average high of 58 for this time of year and an average low of 39. But look at the record highs and lows. 77 degrees back in 1963 with a record low of 20 back in 1933. So just about 20 degrees below normal for this time of year. But looking at temperatures across the whole entire region of the United States, the western coast, mostly California, above normal for this time of year. And this is for October 30th through November 5th. That will stretch down into areas of Arizona, Nevada, Washington, and Oregon as well. And as we look into the Central Plains, well below normal for this time of year, areas of Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana with the mostly concentrated below temperatures for this time of year. But looking into the southeast, if you look, mostly the southern portions of the southeastern states will remain above normal. And of course, Florida will remain above normal as well. But look at State College, that's new. We're just getting to normal fall-like weather. And as we look into the precipitation outlook, once again, off in the west coast, this is opposite of what we just saw. Below normal precipitation amounts for most of California, once again in Oregon, and just creeping into Nevada as well. Those central plains once again will be above normal with precipitation in Montana, the Dakotas, and Wyoming as well. And that's going to go for the southeast as well. Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana above normal. And as we look up into State College, above normal precipitation as well. And now it's time for that drought monitor. It is starting to dissipate off just a little bit, still concentrated over in the western half of the United States, and of course, still focus in the Four Corner regions as well. But as we look into State College, of course, no drought. We have that above normal precipitation outlook. But now this is my favorite graphic, the fall foliage. Fall is my favorite season, so I'm excited to see the colors are starting to change here in Pennsylvania. It is past peak foliage for New Hampshire. There's nothing like fall in New Hampshire. The trees out there are just so beautiful. But now let's talk about that weekend weather forecast. Could we see snow overnight on Saturday? It is possible. Below normal temperatures, mid-40s as high for this weekend. Chance for rain Saturday afternoon, and we could see that snow overnight into Sunday. Otherwise, Sunday will be mostly cloudy. Mike and Ryan, it is going to be a beautiful weekend. Maybe you should stay indoors though, watch some Netflix, drink some hot cocoa or apple cider. Enjoy the fall-like temperatures.
Well, thank you, Kasey. I'm definitely going to enjoy these fall-like temperatures because this is what I was waiting for. These colder temperatures. The snow, maybe not so much so soon, but even so.
Yeah, that is true. But I mean, we're ready for that apple cider season to kick in. And,
Oh, yeah.
You know, nothing better in my opinion.
Oh, nothing. Well, thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Ryan Gold.
And I'm Mike Susko.
I'll see you next week up in the air.